You with me? So why, they have no right to judge me because I don't want to watch Cartoon Network with them. It's not my values. Pick someone else. Who's willing to do that? Okay, I'm serious. All right. But in that moment, I perceive myself to be congruent with my values in that my literary pursuits and my research. In that moment, they go, she's a bad mother, she doesn't want to sit and watch TV with it. I'm perceiving, I'm wasting my time. Okay, I'd rather do something else with them, where I can commute with them. I'm just sitting next to them and watching with them. It's not stimulating me anyway. Okay. So, another mother might go, okay, I will sacrifice myself and I will sit with you and I'll watch Cartoon Network and the food can burn on the stove and I won't meet my deadline at work. We may not eat next month, but I'll watch Cartoon Network because I'm an altruist. With me? Do you see the difference? Okay. So it depends on, write this word down, perspective and perception. These three words. Perspective, perception, and context. These three things is what makes the world go round. And that makes us make informed decisions. Because we are always, only and forevermore operating from our individual perspective. Because you can't get rid of yourself. I'm sorry if you were trying, but you cannot get rid of you. You are with you forever. So you are who you are, okay? And you cannot deny parts of yourself. You are who you are. So your perspective is informed always by... No, please make smaller. Okay, it won't. All right, your frame of reference. Okay, so you're always operating from your perspective because you have a particular set of values, okay, of what's important to you. That is your perspective, and that's the way in which you perceive the world. You perceive the world from your frame of reference. Now, your frame of reference is everything that you have been exposed to from the day you were born up until this very moment. The people you've been exposed to, the literature you've been exposed to, the culture you've been exposed to, the religion, etc., in every area of your life. And that makes you who you are individually. So you're going to have a very different perspective on something compared to the person sitting next to you or behind you or in front of you. Okay? So some of you are going to think Dr. Frankenstein is the monster. Others are going to stick to their perspective of, no, there's only one monster in the story. And that's okay. Because you're not judging it, you're looking at it from your perspective. But what you cannot ignore is context. You've got to look at the context in which the story is operating. What was happening at the time? What is the historical context? What's the religious context? What is the scientific context? You can't ignore all those different types of context because that informs your interpretation of the text. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, let's proceed. Why is this baby not moving? Hello. There we go. Wrong way. Move it over. No, this way. Okay. Okay. Okay, so good is given weapons. So what, do you see what I've just proven to you there? Where it says good is personified by stereotypical qualities of strength and altruism. Okay? Victor Frankenstein, or let's look at the monster, is personified in the excerpts that I asked you to read. He's personified as selfish and vicious and malicious and cruel. Okay. But then we realize he's only coming across in that manner because of what? He's looking for love. Our poor monster. Okay. Victor Frankenstein is often criticized for being selfish and he abandons his family, and he abandons time with his wife, etc., etc. And some people even blame him for his wife's death. Okay? He didn't kill her, the monster killed her. Okay? But they feel that indirectly, he didn't know the monster was in the house.
But you don't take that chance if you know this thing is out.
He was downstairs thinking he's protecting his wife because that was the entrance. He never in his wildest dreams thought he would have come in elsewhere. Or perhaps he was already there. Okay, stop. Oh, I love it. You're judging. We're not looking at the facts. So if I have to give you another example, and I say to you, okay, someone is attacked in their home. And the moment at which they are attacked, the mother goes to the bathroom and the child is attacked. Is it the mother's fault that she went to the bathroom? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. She decides to retire. He thinks, I'm protecting my wife. Huh? He was just in the wrong room, the poor dude. Hey? There are two perspectives here. Okay. Listen, let's hear. Delia, you had your hand up. Let's hear, love. Okay, so the point you're making? What? Exactly. So perhaps it's at this point, listen please, and this is one of the questions that we're going to be answering. Perhaps it is at this point that Victor Frankenstein's creation surpasses his own understanding and kind of beats his intellect. This ugly monster suddenly becomes more of an intellectual genius in that he is able to influence the outcome of the situation, and Victor Frankenstein doesn't expect it. Okay, question?
Ma'am, I could have sworn sometime during, between when Victor Frankenstein destroys the monster's wife or whatever.
Yes, listen everyone.
And between the death of, I don't know how to give it away. Anyway,
Yes,
of
no,
that person.
yeah.
The monster promises to Frankenstein that he will kill everything that he loves. He should have thought from then.
Yes.
He's not going to affect me by hurting me physically.
Yes.
He's going to affect me by hurting me emotionally. So
Okay.
he should have thought immediately he's going after the things that I most, which is my family.
Okay, but the point remains is, he wasn't outside, he was inside the home with her from his perspective, and in his perception, he was ready with that gun, he was armed, and he was ready to protect his wife. Must Victor Frankenstein now, or do you expect him to, take responsibility for his wife's death when he didn't pull the trigger, he didn't choke her to death, he didn't throttle her, he didn't. The monster did, okay? And his intentions were pure in that he was wanting to protect his wife. He perhaps just miscalculated where he would be and underestimated. I think he underestimated the monster completely. Okay. Is that bad? Should he be judged for it? Could one of us not have done the same? Yes, I'll own it. If you don't want to, I'll own it. I could have been at the bottom thinking I'm protecting my family and they're being attacked at the top. In the bedroom. No. Okay, so the moral of the story is don't live in a double-story house. Okay. Right, that's not the context we were going for. Okay, all I'm trying to show you is don't take anything that you ever read at face value. I want you to delve and question. That is your job as part of your literary pursuits. Ask why. Okay, now I want to get through this before we go. Okay, please follow in your texts. Good is given weapons to fight evil, and there is always a showdown where the hero and a powerful evil genius confront each other. How often do we see this theme in history, in films, in novels, in plays, repeating itself? All the time, everywhere. You see it every day in your family. And in your classrooms, it's there. You're just not seeing it. Okay. Right. Is it not marvelous? I love the pun. How in the struggle, good always wins. It is hopeful. Now, this is a bit disturbing. So you might want to highlight this because this is a bit disturbing. And I know when we read this line, everyone's heart lurches and goes, I don't like that. Okay. It is hopeful, optimistic, but for us human beings, it is wishful thinking. So sometimes we're living in a dream world about what's really going on around us. That's what it's saying. Burst the bubble. The struggle, no, it's just reality. The struggle is not out there. Underline this. The struggle is not out there. It is always within each of us. That's where we're struggling, because we're trying to enforce what we think is right on someone else who has a different value system. And they're trying to enforce on us what they think is right on us because they're operating from that value system. And that's why people judge Victor Frankenstein to the extent that they do. Okay. Right. We have both God and devil within. Now that must be disturbing for some of you. Okay. Now what that means is merely this. Cruel and kind. I illustrated it just now. You're not always kind, you're not always cruel. You're both depending on the context and whether you are being challenged within your value system. That's what makes you become cruel or kind. Okay. So if your parents punish you for something, it's because you haven't upheld their rules in the house of making your curfew. Then you perceive them to be cruel. What do they think? They think they're being kind. Because they're teaching you a lesson. Okay, you with me? You can see their perspective, your perspective. And that's all that refers to there. Okay, so please, it's not any religious connotation at all. Okay. And as the old story goes, every person, this is important, highlight this whole paragraph. Every person has two dogs inside. I love this. And the inner psyche will develop according to which dog is fed, the good dog or the bad dog. Okay. Perhaps we should not be saying, may the best man win. And this is what is incredible perspective. But may the good within us triumph. So, if you've learned anything from this lecture, and I know you're now going to walk out this door and go, we didn't even get to the text. What's up here? What the hell? What's up here? Okay. I need to get your mindset correct so that you can understand the way in which we're going to be approaching the texts. Okay. Listen carefully. Listen. Don't move. Don't fidget. Sit still. Listen. Okay. The perspective is that most people live their lives from the outside in, not from the inside out. Does that make sense? So we're always looking at how this is influencing us, not how we can influence it. You with me? And so if we do that, we've got a specific set of values, and you then inject other people's values into your own life instead of following your path. And everyone has a very specific path, okay? And we're going to see that in the characters with which we are going to be engaging, not with which, did you hear my error? With whom we're going to be engaging, all right, in the next few weeks. So I want you to keep this perspective in mind as you are reading. Okay, so going forward now, our plan for next week is as follows, okay? We're going to complete Frankenstein, right? And you'll see we'll just fly through it within 40 minutes. We're going to get through it because we now have perspective, okay? And we now have the theory. We can delve into it deeply. And I'm going to very pedantically go through every text, every excerpt, show you the answer. There are about 12 questions we need to answer. And I actually show you the evidence. I highlight the evidence and I show you that's the evidence that you would be using to answer question 2. This is the kind of evidence that you would do to answer question 4, 5, 6, etc. Okay. And of course you're going to have that. Pardon? No, forward, but we've run out of time. I don't want your parents to be knocking. Can I finish the forward? Do we really have parents waiting? Ah, no, men. Okay. All right. No, that's fine. We will continue next week then.